Assalamu alaikum learners, how are you? I hope you are fine and safe at your homes. Class 8 unit number 1, it's your ninth lecture. Learners, open your book page number 12. The topic is relation between British and Indians after 1857. Now we start reading. Despite the advances in the field of commerce, trade, and education, relations after the War of 1857 between the Indians and their British rulers remained one of distrust. Before the war, English officers had adopted the ways of the Indians and had even started to dress like them. They rode on elephants and had a following of officers just like the Mughal emperors. State precious, many of them married them wives and their children came to be called Anglo-Indians. Most of these children were sent to England to be educated and rejoined their parents in India as adults. After the War of 1857, the British isolated themselves behind their exclusive Gymkhana clubs and civil lines residential areas with huge bungalows on spacious, tree-lined roads. Families of civil and military officers were encouraged to come out and live in India, and a whole culture of the White Sahab and Mem Sahabs was formed with many Indian servants to serve them. The hill stations of Darjeeling, Murree, and Shimla became the summer retreats for the British elite to retire to from the oppressive. Oppressive means weather very hot, lacking of fresh air, unbearable or unpleasant heat of Indian plains. Learners, now open page number 13. On this page there is a picture. In figure 1.12 you can see ice skating in Shimla, late 19th century. British government's policy change. The War of Independence had made the British realize their mistake of not keeping themselves informed about Indian opinion on the reforms that they had brought in before 1857. The British administration decided to include Indians on their council so that they could advise them on various issues related to their way of living and culture. From 1861 onward, the British tried to include the princes and landed gentry in the administration of the country in an advisory role. The British members of the Viceroy Council were each given a department to run home, revenue, military, and finance. The Department of Foreign Affairs was directly handled by the Viceroy. Indian Consuls Act of 1861. The Indian Consuls Act of 1861 was passed to include non-officials of Indian descent on the Viceroy's Executive Council to be nominated by the Viceroy himself. The number could not be less than 6 and not more than 12. Indian participation was limited to taking into account their opinion on legislative matters. The Viceroy had the right to vote and law being passed by the Legislative Council. Indian Consuls Act of 1892. In 1892, nearly 31 years later, the British thought it prudent mean wise, to bring in further improvement by the inclusion of more Indians on the Legislative Council of the Viceroy. The strength of the council was increased and two-fifths of its members would be non-official. The Indian members could question the government on financial policy but could not submit or purpose any resolution. Under pressure from the Indian National Congress, the British Indian government agreed to hold elections in India. The act was criticized for giving hardly and concession to Indians in voicing their views in the administration of the country. Learners, do reading carefully, underline the difficult words, learn vocab and write on loose sheet. After reading, you can search the answers of the given questions easily. Take care. Allah Hafiz.